Okay, questions? Reflections, ruminations? Yes.
Unless those homeowners get together and make a case against the factory, who will be the culprit. And like any other, they'll have to put a case towards that.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, I mean, to me, that seems like a very hard case to win. Seems
Hard
extremely-
case or?
Very difficult case to win.
Well, let me put it this way, is that, you know, lawyers operate on the basis of contingency fees. You present your complaint about some neighbor or some other person to your lawyer that you go see. And the lawyer then evaluates, taking the long-run view, is this a case that can be won? Even if you have to go through a whole process. Because if he does win, he gets 1/3. I don't know what it is here in the Bahamas. But in the US, normally if a lawyer takes a case on contingency, that is, he only gets paid if you win, he gets 1/3 of whatever is the reward. So if you have a case against anyone, let's say for $9,000, okay, you win the case, the other guy has to pay you $9,000, the lawyer gets $3,000. That's the contingency fee approach. It seems to me is that, and lawyers specialize in this. They have entire staffs, and it involves cases that may be taken care of and get through the courts in 6 months, or 6 years or longer. And of course, the longer, the more likely, the higher the sum that might be gotten because of the pain, anguish, cost as time has gone on, and therefore their contingency fraction grows. So in fact, there's an entire specialized area of the law profession to make it easier or more easy for individuals who have these type of complaints to come individually or in a combined form to sue someone who they accuse of this. So can it be a case where, to use again the jargon or the language of the economists, the transaction costs, that is, the cost of doing the activity, are so high that it may not be economically viable to take someone to court? Yeah, that could happen. But that's like when someone does something that in principle minimally offends you or in some way harms you. It doesn't mean that because of all the costs involved, you may decide not to take that person to court. For example, I think all of us have had some situation like this. You're at a party or some social event, and someone spills a drink or food on you. You're really irritated inside, right? The shirt has been ruined, the jacket has a stain on it. Many of us have had this, right? And if you wanted to, you could say to this person, "Well, what you did? You're buying me a new shirt. This jacket's that's a $300 jacket. You better buy me a new." Now, that's an infringement of our property rights. It may have been done accidentally. People don't normally just throw their drinks at you, do they? No, okay, just check. Okay, and so it's an accident. But you know, just because something is an accident doesn't mean that someone else's property hasn't been damaged, and under the law you can still be held responsible for it. Sometimes they would call it negligence. You should have been more careful, okay? But why don't you say this to the person? Look at the shirt, why about the jacket? Because as irritating and upsetting as the fact that you may not be able to get the stain out, you know, you're gonna have, if you want to have it, you're gonna have to buy a new one. You don't do this. Why? Because the cost isn't worth it. Why? It's a good friend. It's a relative. It's someone who you might want to have a business dealing with. And if you create that type of tension, even though you're in the right, it's going to sort of make a bad atmosphere to, you know, to make whatever business deal you have. So sometimes we put up with pollutions of that type, even though we could have a case to be compensated by the person who did it, because the costs are greater than the benefit. The cost being offending a friend, breaking and making a relationship tense, ruining a business opportunity for yourself. So it is the case that sometimes the cost of having your property rights either protected or compensated are not worth it. Okay. You know, if someone walks by the sidewalk and is eating a candy bar and throws the wrapper onto my front lawn and keeps walking on, I could go after him and get into a big hassle. You know what? It's sometimes just easier to pick up the candy wrapper and throw it in the trash myself. Right? So it depends upon the circumstances. Depends upon the circumstances. But each person then makes that decision himself. Okay, any other questions? What are we doing on time? Is it time for a break? Pretty much early? Okay, so we have a break now, one more lecture before lunch, and this is going to be on the ethics of economics and the welfare state. So the next one will be on ethics, economics, and welfare state. So we have about a 20-minute break. Thank you.